Well, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to be back on this group. I feel like it's been a while since I've been on, but it's really just been a week. So welcome to Wednesday and to our talk today, which is going to focus on warnings that you might see on cosmetic products and honestly other products as well. But obviously this group is focused on skincare and that world. So specifically, I want to hit on the California warnings that you'll see because those are going to be a lot more conservative and more aggressive in the warning department and what that might mean for you, even if you don't live in California. So my name is Claudia Cometa. For those of you who don't know, I am a pharmacist and independent skincare consultant, and I come here weekly, occasionally twice weekly. This week actually will be twice weekly to provide you tips, tricks, and education to achieve the best skin of your life. So what to do with all those warnings on products and how do you possibly begin to process them and understand them? All right, so for California, back in 1986, they passed Proposition 65, which had the intention of informing consumers if a product that they were using contained chemicals known to the state to cause cancer, birth defects, or reproductive harm. Now, that was not limited to the cosmetics industry. Actually, it was anything from office supplies to furniture to your suitcases. I mean, literally anything that you might purchase at a store or online that could contain a chemical, and the state actually keeps the list of chemicals that could contain a chemical known to the state to cause cancer, birth defects, or reproductive harm. Okay, so that proposition is still in place. But in 2005, so fast forward several years, in 2005, the state then passed the California Safe Cosmetics Act, which was basically piggybacking off of that same idea to inform consumers of chemicals that could cause similar issues, but just more honed in on the cosmetics world. So similar intentions, but more streamlined to not anything you could purchase, but more just cosmetics in the beauty industry. Okay, so here's the warning that you may see on some products. It'll say, warning, this product contains a chemical known to the state of California to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. So, and many of you have probably seen that, and if you live in California, which I actually did for several years, you see it on products everywhere around you, and it actually becomes kind of a cry wolf situation because you just see it everywhere and then you just don't pay attention to it. But that's not the point. The point is to pay attention to it. However, I want to clarify what that means because I actually have received quite a few questions about this, and I think it's important to know what you're reading and what you're seeing because a lot of what's around us sort of stimulates fear, and then you don't know what to do with it, and then you just don't do anything with it. So what does all of this mean? Okay, there are, and the list that the state keeps is like 900 chemicals. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all those, but I want to give you a few examples, okay? One is titanium dioxide. So titanium dioxide is derived from a mineral, titanium. So it's derived from a mineral, and when it is naturally processed and derived, there can be trace amounts of other minerals or other metals. And because of that, there can be the potential for exposure and concern. Now, and this presents some confusion, right? Because you're maybe a consumer looking for a natural product and awesome, love the fact that it's a mineral-based product, yay for titanium, and now there's a warning. So what do I do with that? And so it gets confusing, right? And it is very confusing. But the point here is they specifically pair out titanium in a nanoparticle size that can be inhaled and affect the lungs. Now, a lot of the products that we use aren't necessarily going to be inhaled and cause a problem, but here's what happens. Because there is such aggressive litigation around this topic, meaning lawyers are ready to take on any manufacturer who is not putting this warning on there, instead of the manufacturer trying to prove that their product does not have an aerosolizable or nanoparticle size titanium, they just put the warning on it because it's just, honestly, it's easier and it's less time intensive and it takes less money to do that. And so you're going to see the warning if it has titanium dioxide. So what do you do? A few things. One is contact a representative from the company, if it's me with my company or if it's just the company directly, and ask your concern if you truly have a concern. The reality is typically the amount of this ingredient that is in the product you were interested in, it's usually such a trace amount that the risk is low to none. But again, because of this litigation concern, they just will put the warning on there, and that's just the reality. So titanium's one example. Benzophenone is another example. That's contained in some fragrances and some sunscreens as well, typically in such trace amounts that it's potentially could not even be located if you tested the product. However, because there's that possibility, the manufacturers take a conservative approach and just put the label on it to be safe, to make California happy. And so anybody who sells any products to the residents of California, they have the option of either proving to the state that the amount is so negligible that they don't need to put the warning, or they simply put the warning, and they usually take the easier of the two roads and put the warning. So a lot of the times these chemicals have shown these risks when given orally in large amounts to mice. So they're ingesting it orally in very large amounts, and there is a concern in those studies of the potential for harm. Now, does that then translate into humans and the topical application of those same ingredients? It hasn't, for most of them, it has not been shown ever. However, because in those instances, rats had problems when given in large doses orally, that warning has to be on there. And so just being knowledgeable and educated will help relay some of that fear and make you a little bit more comfortable with what you're purchasing. So feel free to ask me any questions specifically about products. Again, if you are looking into a specific product and have a question, the manufacturer of that product should be able to answer specific questions for you. If they do not, that's a concern, but they should be able to answer specific ingredient questions for you, and whether there are amounts that are large enough in that product that you should be concerned about. So any questions, let me know. I hope that helped you. If you know of anybody who has had similar questions or have seen those warnings, have been fearful and don't know what to do with them, please feel free to share. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful week. I will be on tomorrow night, so that's Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, to discuss what I'm calling Skincare 101, which is basically A to Z of the products that I represent. Well, it's not all A to Z. I'm not going to cover everything, but the key components of our regimens, I'm going to be discussing that. So it will be a branded talk, so it will not be like what I've been doing. It will be branded on my products. You're welcome to join. You're welcome to invite people. Totally up to you, but I hope to see you then, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.